So welcome to the fireplace. It's very nice over here. So great. So come land in onto your back. Just arrive in. Such a beautiful evening. You know, I'm looking at it. Sun on the treetops and these amazing oranges and reds and deep dark greens and burnt greens, and it's just so beautiful out there.
We can't hear you very well, Ciara.
Oh yes, exactly. My microphone is way over there. Thank you. Great. I'd say that's better. Yeah, great. So yes, so I was just saying that the sky is really blue and the trees are really burnt green, and then there's amazing oranges out there as well. Such a beautiful evening. So just landing in onto your back, just settling in, and just feel the back of your body on the floor. Just get a sense of this moment in your body. Without changing, without altering anything, without expecting anything other than how you are. You just get a sense of this moment in your body. And the way that your body is in contact with the floor. The different parts of you that feel very bony or pointy on the floor. Feel rigid, hard on the floor. And then those places within you that feel soft or gentle or smooth here on the floor today. Noticing temperature of your body. Are you warm? Are you cool? Are you somewhere in between? Noticing how able you feel. Do you feel engaged and vigorous, or do you feel flattened and tired? I'm always amazed at the beginning of a class how I feel, and then the end of a class will have such a difference in the tone and the texture of my body, in the sense of my ableness. Just notice for you, how able do you feel right now? And then just feel your breath down into your belly. So as you inhale down into your belly, how does it feel? Really fill the breath. How does the breath settle within you? Nice. And from all the different sensations of this moment, where do you feel well right now? Is that ever searched a sense of wellness? You know, as you lie here, where is that within you? Nice. And then just bring your knees to bend and your feet flat to the floor. Your arms are resting long beside you. And just draw your lower back down and flatten into the floor. So we're going to look at loads of different ways to do pelvic tilts this evening. I've been really fascinated by pelvic tilting. So arching your lower back and breathe into your belly. So just do the normal pelvic tilt where we roll along the spine. So as you arch and then as you flatten down, notice how it's a curvy rolling in contact, flattening down and an arching. Flattening down and an arching. Nice. And flattening down and arching. So this is where we travel A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then G, H, G, whatever it is, back to front. I have no idea. I can't do things like that. And so just feel that should be something I can do back to front and forward. So anyways, flattening down, forward and backwards. Nice. So then you're going to do the opposite way. So this is where you just do so arch your back and then lift your bum off the floor and then flatten your back. And then lift your bum off the floor and then arch. So it's like you hop into it. So lift and then flatten. Tiny lift and then bring your bum to the floor. So it's like you're like hopping from flat to arched to flat and arched. And there, between the flattening and the arching, your spine isn't rolling. It's popping and touching and then flattening and landing. So there's a sense of the arch and the flattening happens in the air. And it's finished before you come into contact. So you flatten, you touch, you arch, you touch. Just feel that. How does that change how your back works? How does that change how your rib cage and your belly speak to each other? And is your pelvis getting confused right now? Just notice. So flat, touch, arch, touch. Flat, touch, arch, touch. One more time. Flat, touch, arch, touch. Okay, so now roll up along your spine and travel all the way up, lifting your hips and your bum up off the floor. And then slowly travel down until you land on the floor. So this is one of those ABCD ones. And so we're rolling up along the spine, traveling up. And then we're rolling down along the spine, landing on the floor. So you're just traveling up and down, hearing the spine. Nice, so we're going to try the same thing with this. So travel up along the spine and pause halfway. So you're not at the full up and you're not at you're kind of halfway. And then arch your back and let your bum tap the floor, but your rib cage is really arched now. And then lift your hips and push your hips forward, but you're in your halfway position. So arch your back, let your bum touch the floor, but my rib cage is really high. So my mid back is also off the floor. And then flatten your lower back and push your hips upwards. So arch your lower back, just your bum drops, and then push your hips upwards. So you're doing kind of a deep arch of the lower back and your bum touches, and then you flatten and push forward and you're in the halfway of your bridge. And again, arch, let your bum touch, and then flatten, push your hips forward. One more time, arch, let your bum touch, and flatten. Nice. Push your hips a bit higher so that your hips are now at the full expression of your up, and then sway from side to side. And as you sway, for me there's this really interesting thing that happens around the front pelvic bones. I feel like, yeah, what does that feel like? It feels like the ocean going around stones or something for me. It's just this really interesting, I can feel the mass of the bone and then all the ligaments and bones and tendons of my legs and belly and pelvis and bum all working in this very fluid way around the big solid bones of my pelvis. Just notice how that is for you. Can you feel the stones of your pelvis as such? And then the flow of the ocean of the bones of the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons and the fascia. Nice. Come back to center. Roll slowly down along your spine and just stretch both legs out long and just let your legs rest for a moment. Just wiggle your toes, wiggle your jaw, open your eyes, wiggle your eyebrows. Maybe there's a yawn. Nice. Bend one knee, bend the other knee, both feet to the floor. And begin to roll up and down along your spine. So traveling up and traveling down. Nice. Traveling up. Really push your heels down more as you travel up. And traveling down. Last time. While traveling up, really push your heels down. Reach long into your fingers and bring both palms to touch straight out in front of your chest. So your heels are pushing down, your bum is squeezing, and now your shoulders are rounding forward as you reach your fingers upwards. Walk your feet 1 inch closer together. Your knees are a little bit closer together. Pause there. Walk your feet another inch closer together. Pushing through your heels. Pause there. One more time. Walk your feet a little bit more. And try and squeeze your thighs as much as you can together. Nice. Lower your bum all the way down. Bring your ankle bones so they touch. And then keep your palms touching. Drop your knees down towards the right. Keep your palms touching the whole time. Back up to center. Palms push a little bit into each other even. And then drop your knees down towards the left. And back up to center. Ankle bones are glued together. Palms are glued together. Knees to the right. Center. Knees to the left. Center. Nice. Pull your knees up towards your chest. Keep your ankle bones touching. Keep your knees touching. Draw your knees down towards the right. Your palms are touching up towards the ceiling, so you're really not going to get far. And there's this incredible work happening in the right side of your chest and shoulder probably. Come back up to center. And then knees down towards the left. Now do you stabilize? Wow, this is so intense. Come back up to center. Knees over towards the right. How do you stabilize? Such a squeeze. And center. Last one. Bring your knees over towards the left. Wow, we're learning new skills tonight. Oh. And back up to center. Bend your elbows. Bring your elbows to the floor. Bring your knees down towards the right. Notice how different it is when we have our elbows and our forearms to support us. Back up to center. And then knees down towards the left. And back up to center. Nice. Bend your knees and bring your hands to the soles of your feet and just come into a kind of a loose happy baby. Have a bit of a wiggle in a happy baby. You know, kind of find the ease. What do you need to do to soften into your legs or ease into your feet? Maybe you're really comfortable in your happy baby pose. Maybe you need to soften into it a little bit. See what you need, what you want. And then begin to settle in. And as you meet the different areas that are tighter or more sensation, see how you might move that area to create a little bit more softness or a little bit more ability in the area. So you're not forcing things, you're inviting. How would you invite more softness into your hips? Try and draw your knees a little bit closer to the floor, drop your shoulders down. And again, keep inviting more softness. How do you settle deeper? How do you land softer? Nice. And then release your right leg and stretch it straight up towards the ceiling. And then from here, lower the right leg down until it floats just above the floor. And then bend your right knee and draw your right knee up towards your chest. And then straighten your right leg so you're pointing towards the wall above your head. And then slowly, this is the bicycle with the leg, slowly lower the right heel down until it floats just above the floor. And then bend your right knee and draw your knee up towards your chest. And then straighten your legs so your toes are pointing towards the wall above your head. Send your heel away and lower down your long leg with your heel being pointy down towards the floor. Point your toes and bend your knee. Bend your knee, send your toes above the wall, to the wall above your head. So let's do that a few times. Lower your leg straight, bend your knee, straighten your leg, lower your leg straight. Bend your knee, point your toes, lower your leg straight. One more time. Bend your knee, point your toes. Nice. Hold on to that right leg. Come into happy baby pose. And then release the left leg. Stretch it straight up towards the ceiling. Lower the left leg down until it floats just above the floor. Point your toes, bend your knee. Point your leg to the wall above your head. Send the energy down into the heel and then lower your legs straight and down. Point your toes, bend your knee. Send your leg long. Heel, lower your leg straight. Bend your knee. Point your leg. Lower your leg down. Heel. Bend your knee, straighten your leg, and lower them down. Nice. Back into happy baby pose. Both knees are bent. Have a bit of a wiggle. Are things getting softer? Things getting easier? Just do a few. Maybe lift your bum up off the floor. Try to bring your toes to the floor above your head. And your feet are wide. Maybe your knees are bent. Maybe your legs are straight. Maybe you imagine you can bring your feet behind your head, or whichever version of that suits you. Imagine that the archetype of this happy baby pose is a child lying on the floor, and then he takes his toes and he sticks them into her mouth. And so feel free. Nice. One last time. Stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling. And bring your right arm long beside you, and slowly, keeping your lower back really steady on the floor, keeping your left leg very still, lower the right leg down until it floats just above the floor. And then just settle in. You can bring your right hand to the front of your right thigh. And then bend your right knee and bring your foot to the floor. And then push your right foot into the floor and try and lift your hips a little bit off the floor. Like you're going to try and do a bridge with the right leg. Lower your bum down, arch into your lower back. Can you even do this movement? I'm not sure. Push your right foot down, lift your hips up off the floor. It's like a tiny movement. It's like 1 or 2 inches. And drop your bum to the floor. Try and arch your lower back. Nice. Last time. Flatten your lower back down. Try and lift your hips up off the floor. And land. Come back up into happy baby pose, both legs. Last of this. Stretch your left leg up towards the ceiling. Slowly lower the left leg down until it floats just above the floor. Left hand is resting on the front of the left thigh. Really sink into it. Nice. From here, bend your left knee, bring your foot to the floor, and lift your bum up off the floor. Lowering down, try and arch your lower back. Is that even possible? Flatten your lower back down, lift your hips up off the floor. Lower your bum down, arch into your lower back. Nice, last time. Lift your hips up off the floor. Lowering down, release your right leg, bring both feet to the floor. Bring your arms out into a T, and then just sway your knees from side to side. Just noticing your belly, your hips, your knees, your feet, your arms, your spine, your rib cage. Bring both hands straight up towards the ceiling. And then reach with your right hand as much as you can up towards the ceiling, like you're actually going to try and touch something. So I've transferred all my weight over into the left side of my head, my left shoulder, and my left hip a little bit more. My right hip is still on the floor, but it feels lighter. And then drop your right shoulder to the floor. And then try and bring the left hand as close to the ceiling as you can. My head is staying on the floor as I do this. And then drop down. Right arm reaches as high as I can. And drops down. And then left arm reaches as high as I can. And drop down. Try and lift your head. As you reach up, try and lift your head so that you help go a bit further. And dropping down. And try and lift your head. If your neck doesn't like this, then don't do it, of course. Lift your head as you reach your left hand up towards the ceiling. And lowering down. Nice. The next stage of this. So you're going to reach the right hand, but you're going to push the left elbow into the floor, lift your head, and really feel like your elbow's kind of trying to help you to rise as you reach. But you're staying on the upper arm and then down. We'll do the same side as again. So pushing your upper left arm into the floor, lift your head, and reach with your right arm as high as you can. And then down. Other side. Bend your right elbow, bring it to the floor. Lift the left hand up towards the ceiling and then rock and reach as high as you can with the left hand. The upper arm on the right stays on the floor and then drop down. Nice. Reach with the left hand, rocking your weight into the upper arm on the right. And then down. Nice. Reach both arms wide. And then drop both knees to the right and glide with the left knee and draw it up towards your right shoulder. All the way back to the floor. Both knees travel to the left and glide with your right knee up towards the left shoulder. And all the way back. Both feet to the floor. So just travel from side to side, really feeling into, sensing into the sensations of your hips, your shoulders. Try and keep the up, so when my right knee is traveling, try and keep your right shoulder on the floor. Really focus on the connection backwards of your rib cage, of your shoulder blades, really sticking to the floor. So rather than focusing on your hips and hips and thighs, really feel your shoulders. Excuse me. Nice. One more time each side. Nice. Reach your arms overhead till they rest on the floor. Send your legs up towards the ceiling and then bring your toes towards your hands. Slowly lower your bum to the floor. And lower your legs down either to a 30-degree angle, 45-degree angle, or until your feet are just above the floor. And then swing your legs slowly until your toes come towards your hands. If you need to bring your elbows beside you or your hands to the floor, then do. But you're not using your hands to lift your bum off the floor. You're really trying to use your spine and your torso and your upper arms. And you're really trying to use the torso to lift you more so than your hands lifting your bum. Just find that. How do you roll up and down along your spine? Nice. It's so sweet in Zoom seeing your little legs swinging around the place. It's very lovely. Nice, one more time. Super, bring the soles of your feet together, your knees apart. Drop the baby toe edge of your feet to the floor. Keep your arms overhead and just see if you can soften into your upper arms. Do you need to bend your elbows just ever so slightly, or loads for you to soften down into the floor? What do you need to do? So walk your feet so they're maybe 6 inches apart. So just kind of shimmy your feet slightly wider. And then bring your right foot to stand. And let your left thigh keep falling. And then push your right foot into the floor and lift your right hip as high as you can. Leave the left hip falling down. So it's the right hip you're trying to keep up and draw up. And then lower down with the right hip. Your left bum will land and then your right. And again, lift the right hip up. Your left leg is hanging as such. You're really not focusing on lifting it, it's just following the right. You'll notice your left shoulder is working a lot right now. And then lower down. This time try and keep both hips the same height as you rise. So now you're trying to keep the left hip also lifting. Left hip also lifts, left hip also lifts. And lowering down, keeping your left hip connected. And again, rising up, left hip rises with the right. They're both traveling together. And all the way down. We'll do the first one again. Only your right leg rises. Well, the other one will follow, but focus only on lifting the right hip, and the left leg will just hang and just hang. Allow yourself to soften into the left leg, the left buttock. Push more into the right heel. Lift a bit more through the right hip. And then all the way down, change sides. Left foot comes to stand, right leg hangs over to the side. I'm just pausing there for a moment. So the first 2 times we're going to do it, your right leg will just hang. So focus only on lifting the left hip. Left hip rises, left hip rises. You'll feel that the right shoulder is working more now. And your right hip is hanging. Your left hip is really rising. Slowly lowering down. Right bum lands, left bum lands. Nice. And again, lift the left hip. Really focus on only the left hip. That sense of tone and textures in the left side. Heel is strong. And then all the way down. So you stay on the baby toe side of your right foot, and now lift both hips together. And you keep your hips connected and rising. Lowering down. And again, how do you keep your hips connected and rising together? And lowering down. This time let your left hip rise and your right leg hang. How do you really let it hang? How do you let your left leg get super strong and your right leg get longer as it hangs? And lowering all the way down. Bring your foot back up to center. And then draw both knees up towards you. Squeeze your knees together. Squeeze your arms around your knees. And just feel that sense of compression. Stretch your legs up towards the ceiling. Roll out through your ankles. And roll in the other direction. And then just bend and stretch your legs a few times. Just feel that. Bend your knees. Squeeze the backs of your knees. Stretch your legs. Open the backs of your knees. Squeeze the backs of your knees. Open the backs of your knees. Squeeze the backs of your knees. Open the backs of your knees. One more time. Squeeze and open. And then shake out your legs. Shake. Nice. Both feet to the floor. Arms out into a cross and just sway from side to side. Swaying. Hearing, listening. Great. Knees back to center. Bring both hands up and then turn your palms so they face the ceiling. So we're going to do a shoulder shrug from here. So push your hands up towards the ceiling and then pull your shoulders back into the floor. Push your hands up towards the ceiling and pull your shoulders into the floor. So do that a few times. How do you push, pull, push, pull. Keep your arms straight. Push, pull. Nice. Exaggerate the movement of your spine. Push, pull. It's like you're doing a cat pose while lying on the floor. Pull, push, pull. So lift your knees off or your feet off the floor so your knees are just above your hips. And so what movement would we do to create that same kind of, what we did is our shoulder shrug there, what would we do with our lower back and knees to do the same? So imagine that by flattening your lower back into the floor, you can somehow lift your knees a little bit higher towards the ceiling. And then as you arch your back, that somehow you can pull your knees a little bit away from the ceiling. You just feel that. Flatten your lower back down. Imagine you can lift your knees a bit higher and then arch the lower back. And imagine you can pull your knees backwards as you arch. Just feel that, really, like imagine you can lift your knees, imagine you can pull your knees. So really feel that you're pushing your knees and pulling your knees. Like I feel the muscles around my knees and around my thighs really engaging with the imagination of pushing my knees and pulling my knees. Pushing my knees and pulling my knees. One more time. I'm pushing my knees and pulling my knees. So great. So come over into your cat pose and we're going to give this a go. I get these ideas during the week and I go, oh, I'll try those out in the Friday class. So you're like my experiment. So with our shoulders, it's pretty obvious. So we'll start with the shoulders. So squeeze your shoulders backwards and find the end of your range where you're really squeezing the shoulder blades together and your arms are straight. And then push your shoulders forward and really feel the squeeze of the push. And just do that a few times. Really squeeze backwards, really push forward. So you're feeling that your shoulders are at the strength of the maximum back and strength of the maximum forward. Nice. So how do we do that thing with our lower back and knees here? So round your back and feel like you push your knees into the floor. And then arch your back and imagine you're just about to lift your knees off the floor. How would you even begin to lift your knees off the floor here? I have no idea, but just imagine you can arch your back and lift. Round your back, push your knees into the floor. And then arch your back, imagine you can lift your knees somehow off the floor. So find that push of your knees and then that pull of your knees. And it's coming from the belly and the lower back. Push your knees and then pull your knees. And then do the two of them together. Let's get really confused. So push your hands, push your knees. And then pull your shoulders back and pull your sit bones back. And imagine you can lift your hands and your feet off the floor somehow, your knees off the floor. You're like, oof. Push and then pull. Push. Focus on the knees a lot. Don't focus too much on the hands. Pull. Push. Pull. Really feel the belly trying to push your knees. Feel the belly trying to pull your knees. One more time. Push and pull. Great. Push back into your downward dog. Find the stretch of you. Have a bit of a wiggle. So bring both knees to the floor and then stretch your right arm straight forward to begin with. So it's beside your ear. And then bring your right arm straight out towards the right. So my right arm is just straight out towards the right. And then bring my right arm back towards my right hip. So right arm straight to the right and then right arm forward. And my palm is facing the floor the whole time. Right arm to the right and then right arm to my hip. And notice what happens when your palm faces the floor the whole time. Notice what happens in your shoulders. So just sweep from forward to side to back and your palm is facing the floor the whole time. Nice, change. Left arm forward, side and then back, side, forward, side, back, and then just sweep. Smoothly, listening. Nice. Lower your hands to the floor. Super. Stretch your right leg long behind you. Bring your right leg to the right. Then bring your right leg to your right shoulder. See what that's like. Bring your right leg to the right. That was like a bombshell going off. Sorry about that, guys. And then right leg straight back. Right leg to the right. And then right leg forward. Whatever forward is for you. Right leg and then sweep. From behind to forward. But the angle of your foot has to change. You know, there's no way your toes can stay pointing towards the floor the whole time. How does this change for you? One more time. As high as you can away from the floor. Really have it smooth and connected. Nice. Drop your knee to the floor. Other side. Left leg straight back. Left leg to the left. And left leg towards your left shoulder. And then side. And then back. Side. Forward. Side. And back. And just sweep. One more time. Nice. Sit your bum down. Come rest into your child's pose. All the way down. Those of you who are doing the strong, you're going to have really weird pains tomorrow morning. Always on Saturday morning, I'm like, oh God, so interesting. Nice. And bring both hands forward. So we're going to see if we can do things together. So stretch your left leg long behind you. Stretch your right arm forward in front of you. And then you're going to try and send the left leg to the left and right arm to the right. And then left arm back and, no, right arm back and left leg forward. So see if you can sweep them in opposite directions. So your right arm is going back and your left leg is coming forward. Right arm is going back and the left leg is going forward. One more time. Change. Left leg forward. No. Left arm forward, right leg back. And then sweep sideways. And then right leg forward, left arm back. And then just begin to kind of helicopter or plane. One more time. Super cool. Both hands to the floor. Push back into your downward dog. Have a bit of a wiggle. Super. So step your right foot forward to the front of your mat. Turn your left foot at a 45-degree angle, rising up. Reach up and interlock your fingers and just lean backwards, opening the chest. Bend your front knee more. Release your hands. Bend your elbows into cactus. So your palms are facing forward, your elbows are pulling backwards. Lean a little bit more back. Nice. Look forward with your head. Bring your hands to your lower back. Just one palm on top of the other. Draw your right shoulder down to your right knee. Nice. Rising. Come back into cactus. And then reach your hands up, interlock your fingers. Get super long as you interlock your fingers. Just feel like it's really supportive of lengthening, connecting, rising. Nice. Come all the way down, both hands to the floor. Step back, downward dog. And have a bit of a wiggle. Nice. Step the left foot forward between your two hands. Turn the back foot, 45-degree angle, rising up. Interlock your fingers, look up as you lean back. Nice. Release your hands, tuck your chin in, come into cactus. Nice. Bring your hands behind your back. One palm rests into the other. And lower your shoulder down to your knee. Rising up, cactus. And reach your hands up, interlock your fingers. It's super long as you pull your hands backwards. Nice. Both hands to the floor. Step back, downward dog. Feel the length of you, the stretch of you. Nice. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. And from here, bring the left hand a little bit off your mat towards the left. Bring your right hand to your right knee. And then hop the back foot and just float there. So your back foot is floating off the floor. And it's quite close to your left foot is, oh, did I say right foot? Hop your left foot off the floor and it's floating just behind the right. And then step back and just come into a deep lunge. Bend your front knee, straighten out through your front leg. Bend your front knee and straighten out through your front leg. One more time. Bend your front knee and drop your back knee. And really try to lean a bit deeper towards the floor. Stay here or bring your left elbow down to the floor. Stay here or bring your right elbow down to the floor. Stay there or stretch your back leg. Nice. Both hands to the floor. Step back. Downward dog. Just have a bit of a lengthening, stretching through the heels, reaching through your legs. And then step your left foot to the outside of the left hand. Bring your right hand a little bit off your mat. And then bring your left hand to your left knee and hop your right foot in. So it's just floating behind your left foot. And then step back and come into a deep lunge. Drop your hips. Stretch out through your front leg. Drop your hips. And stretch out through your front leg. Nice. Drop your hips. Drop your back knee. Lean into it. Stay here or bring your right elbow to the floor. Stay here or bring your left elbow to the floor. Stay here or stretch your back leg. Nice. Both hands to the floor. Step back. And then just walk your feet forward and come into a squatting position. Whatever version of squatting you do. So that could be with your heels up. That could be with your heels down. Nice. And then just make fists out of your hands and roll into your wrists. Just have a sense of rolling, connecting. And then roll in the other direction. Just feeling that sense of rounding, rolling, feeling into the heels, ankles. Open your fingers, make fists. Open your fingers and make fists. Nice. Just reach your fingers forward and rock up onto your toes. And then drop down onto your heels. Come up onto your toes. And then down onto your heels. Super. Lean into your hands, stretch through your legs, and just come into your forward bend. So bring your feet so they're a little bit closer, maybe a hip distance apart. And start by just crossing your elbows and coming into the forward fold. So just dropping your head down, maybe falling down with your elbows towards the floor. Have a sense of really softening, sinking, lengthening through the back of your body. Like your elbows have weight and your elbows are going to come to your toes. Rock a bit more into your toes. Really feel like your elbows are getting heavier. Nice. And then hold on to the back of your calves and bending your elbows, draw your forehead towards your knees. Nice. Bring both hands forward and then step back and step back and have a bit of a wiggle. Maybe coming down into crouching, deep crouching, and stretching through your legs. Maybe rounding your back and dropping your knees down, stretching back, dropping your knees down, stretching back. Super. So we're going to come into pigeon pose, but listening to your knees. So for me, for example, I have to edit the pigeon pose a lot because of one of my ankles. So just see what you need to do. So we're going to bring the hand, your right knee forward towards your right hand, and either come into the modified one. So the modified one is where your two knees are bent, and so if your right knee is forward, your left knee is out to the side. So you're sitting and both knees are kind of like, it's like zigzag, but you're going to come down over the front leg. Actually, let's all do that. So actually just come into, rather than starting in pigeon, let's start with your legs long in front of you, and we'll come into the modified. They're easier, they're better. So bend both knees so your feet are maybe mat distance apart, and then drop both knees down towards the right. And so there should be space between your right foot and your left knee. Bring your hands either side of the right knee and the right foot. And then slowly just bring your nose down in the direction of your right knee. But engage your leg, so don't let your leg be passive. Kind of feel like your leg is listening to what you're doing. Let it hear you, really slowly coming forwards. And then let your leg hear you slowly moving away. I know it sounds a bit weird letting your leg hear you, but don't jump on your leg, more or less, okay? So slowly coming forward, let your leg get used to every bit of the movement. So every time I go a bit further, I pause and go, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you really okay? And then coming back, and again. And your sensations will tell you if you're okay still. It's quite amazing. It's such a vast and complex language, but very simple at the same time. And then coming back. So if that felt really comfortable, then you can do the same thing without hands. If you felt like you were working a really good edge, then keep your hands on the floor. So reach your arms behind you and slowly, again, letting your leg listen to what's happening. You're not jumping on your leg. You're imagining that you can bring your nose down to your knee with your arms long behind you. So now this is there's different kinds of things. One is called a closed chain, one is called an open chain. This is a closed chain because the leg that's underneath is really having to stabilize and work. So the closed chain is where everything as you're closing it together is working. I really feel that. There's the leg that you're moving towards has to stabilize, which shortens the muscle, which then makes it harder to approach. So just feel as you drop your head down, you're just feeling how your leg is working while it's lengthening, which is a really cool thing to do. One more time. Coming up. Nice. Come back up, have both feet wide, and then reaching forward with both hands. Try and come as far forward as you can. And then coming back. Nice. Drop both knees down towards the left. Bring your hands either side of the left foot and the left knee. And so now this is an open chain because the leg that we're approaching is not working. So just let it listen to what you're doing. So this is flexibility. The other one is mobility. So flexibility is your body's ability to move, but it's not an engaged muscle. It's a different kind of thing. So just feel your hands are working, they're taking the load, and you are able to approach your knee because your leg is soft and passive. So feel it, notice it. So if that felt like you were already working hard because of your knee, then stay at that level or reach your arms long behind you. And now with a shortened muscle, do the same movement. So suddenly it's like exponentially more difficult. Keep allowing your leg to hear what you're doing. So traveling up and down. Nice. And then come back to center. So see if you can take your feet so they're off your mat. So you're on a slightly slidier surface. So usually the mat will stick. So see if you can bring your feet off your mat. So we're going to slide a little bit. So bring both feet wide. So a carpet or a floor will do. Or just kind of stick a little bit to your yoga mat. It's okay. So we're going to do that movement, but we're going to do it in gliding. So your legs are straight and your feet are out to the side to start with. And then bend your knees. So glide your heels along the floor towards you. And now drop both knees down towards the right. Reach your arms out, straight out to the side and make fists out of your hands. And then slowly listen to your leg and let your leg know what it's doing. You're going to try and bring your nose down to your knee. If you need to use your hands, then do. But if you can, really stay in the tone and stop where your leg tells you to stop. So listen to your range, coming all the way back up. Slowly come back to center. Your knees are bent, and then stretch out through your legs. And then bend your knees and glide your knees over towards the left. Arms are straight out to the sides, and slowly drop your nose down towards your left knee. So stop at the end of your range, whatever that range is. Strangely, if you travel slowly, your body actually gives you a greater range. Come back to center, stretch your legs long. One more time each side. Bend your knees over towards the right, gliding down. And coming back up. Straighten your legs, and then bend your knees over towards the left, and gliding down. Really value your sensations. Stop when you need to stop. Pause. And then come all the way back up. Super cool. Stretch both legs long and just roll out into your shoulders. And just have a big circle up your shoulders. And then in the other direction. So I'm still really intrigued by this notion of that we can move our knees from our lower back. So we're going to do an experiment. I have no idea what this will do. So bring your hands behind you. So your hands are on the floor and you're kind of leaning into them. Your knees are bent and your feet are flat on the floor. And then how would you, so round your lower back and then push up into your knees from your lower back. Drop your bum to the floor, arch your lower back, and then lift your bum off the floor. So do it from rounding your lower back, lift your knees up, or lift your bum up, arch your lower back, and lift your bum up. What does it change? Round your lower back, lift your bum up, not much. Arching your back, and lift your bum up. So then, how about we have our feet off the floor and we round our lower back? What do you do with your knees when you can round your lower back? And when you arch your lower back, what can you do with your knees? Doesn't really change much there either. Rounding your lower back and arching your lower back. Nice. Rounding your lower back and you push into your knees. And then arching your lower back and you push into your knees. Still not convinced. I'll have to start experimenting with that movement. Let's see, one more of that. Yes, so straighten out through your legs and your feet are together, your toes are pointed, hands are behind you. And then lift your hips up off the floor. And just have a sense of trying to lift your hips higher and higher, or try to bring your feet flat to the floor. You're looking down along your legs. Nice, and bring your bum to the floor. Nice, rounding forward, come all the way down. Just resting your head down on whatever you rest down on. And maybe rock your bum from side to side to give you a little bit more buttock to stretch. And then reach your hands forward and rest yourself forward. So reverse a little bit back and have your hands somewhere near your calves or your knees. And then bend your knees a little bit here. So bend your knees and pull your heels into the floor. So you're like it's like I'm trying to pull myself forward with my knees. And then round your back there and arch your back. So my heels are really strong and I'm rounding my back and I'm arching my back. So my legs are super strong. I'm pulling with my heels and I'm rounding my back and arching my back. Rounding my back and arching my back. Stretch your legs out long. And then try and bring the backs of your knees to the floor. Round your back and arch your back. One more time. Round your back and arch your back. Great. Twist. So draw the right hand back behind you. Hold on to the outside of the left knee. And just deeply twist towards the right. And change. Twisting towards the left. Holding on to the outside of the left knee with your right hand. Nice. And then we're going to do a little bit of neck pulling. I just love this movement. So stretch your left hand to the outside of your right foot as far as you can. And then grab your fist and pull your elbow back as far as you can towards the left. And then reach your right hand forward over to the outside of the left foot. And then pull your elbow back. So you're going diagonal. And when your elbow taps, that's when you reach with your opposite hand across. All the way down, elbow taps, and then reach. So you're trying to really pull as much netting backwards as you can. You're like trying to be super efficient as you pull. So it's one long pull and then another long pull. You're probably losing your trousers at the moment. Oh, don't worry. So one more time each side as your trousers slowly fall down behind you. And then fix your trousers. Nice. And then we're going to row. So reach both hands forward and then pull both elbows back and maybe tap the floor with your elbows. And then reach both hands forward. You're definitely going to lose your trousers with this one. Elbows back. And then both hands forward. Pull your elbows back. 2 more times. Both hands forward. Oh my God. Oh my God. Back. And then forward. Super cool. Come all the way forward to the front of your mat. And then slowly rolling down. And then just land. Squeeze your knees towards you. And rock from side to side. Hopefully you still have your pants on. Roll in a circle. And roll in the other direction. Nice. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees apart. Just rest your hands in a place where it feels really supportive. So where feels supportive for you right now? Is that on your thighs? Is that on your belly? Is that on your navel, rib cage, on your chest, behind your head, above your head? Really see. Like try out each one for size or for feeling and go, At the moment I really enjoy the sense of the opening of my armpits with my arms overhead. Really allows something else to soften into my hips and pelvis. It's like the softening of my armpits inspires a deeper softening in my hips. And then the long extension into the rib cage pulls a little bit through the psoas and lengthens into the inner thighs. So just see for you if maybe that's not what's nice for you. Maybe having your hands on your belly and really containing your shoulders is just delicious for you. And what's gorgeous is that we can all find that which suits us in this moment. Slowly draw your knees towards each other. Squeeze your right knee up towards you, hug it in. Really squeeze it deeply down. And change. Draw your left knee up towards you. Squeeze it in. Nice. Wrap your arms around the backs of your knees. You can hold on to the opposite hand if you want, or opposite wrists or opposite elbows. And just feel like your arms are tucked in at the back of your knees, and then you just surrender that. Really soften into that. Stretch up through both legs. Hold on to your toes. Just pausing there. Bend your knees, push your elbows into the floor, and just rock from side to side. Super cool. Lower one foot to the floor and then the other. Hands rest on your lower belly. And just let yourself rest. Shoulders are widening. Tuck your chin in a little bit so your chin is shortened at the front and the back of your neck is longer. And either turn your palms to face the ceiling, or you can rest your hands on your belly. You can have your legs straight or your knees bent. And then just really appreciate the shape of your rib cage. And how it holds its shape. And then just wonder how you would soften it, or I'm going to say collapse it, or surrender it, or kind of deflate the up and out of your rib cage so that it's a down and back. And really deflate or soften your shoulders, that they're a down and back as well. And maybe your belly and your pelvis can surrender. If your knees are bent, then I really like dropping all my knees together so my legs can rest. Because if my knees are apart, then I have to somehow hold my legs in place, so find a way that either legs are straight, pillow under your knees, or your knees are dropped towards each other, and then let your pelvis fall down and back and really soften and fall into the pelvis. Is one shoulder a little bit more up than the other? Can you let it fall and surrender? Really kind of collapse it, like let it go, like let it be soft. Like, why brace yourself? Softening through the lower rib cage, the mid rib cage, the upper rib cage. Softening through the shoulders and into the back of the neck. So you're going to do a thing where you're going to just open your eyes gently, and without turning your head, bring your eyes to the right hand side. And just notice, is there a sigh or a yawn or a deeper breath that may emerge as your eyes are over towards the right? Hopefully you have. And then bring your eyes back to center. And then turn your eyes towards the left. And maybe just hang out there until a yawn or a sigh or just a deeper breath emerges spontaneously. And then coming back to center. Just closing your eyes and getting a sense of your midline. So from the top of your head down through the center of you, there is a midline, and it's like a Goldilocks midline. So it's not too far back and not too far forward. It's not too far to the right or too far to the left. It's just right in the middle. You just feel that. Find the placement of your midline in this moment. Nice. And just wiggling your fingers, wiggling your eyebrows, stretching your arms overhead, finding your length, your stretch, your reach, just feeling the whole of you. And then slowly, either drawing your knees up, rocking your knees over. Oh, it got very dark there, didn't I? How lovely, guys. How wonderful. The sun has set. Nice.
Thank you, Ciara.
Oh, so lovely. Yeah, I'm really liking this groove we get into. I'm going to unmute you.